Rain lashed against the window pane, blurring the neon lights of Seoul into an impressionist painting of red and blue. Inside the near-empty classroom, the only sound was the soft patter of water and the occasional snicker from some unseen students. Sitting alone at one of the desks was a chubby teenage boy. He was a Korean high school student who wore the standard white button-down shirt and navy blue pants of his school uniform. But his clothes were wrinkled and ill-fitting, doing little to hide the softness of his round belly or the way his thighs squeezed together when he shifted in his seat. His neck was thick and short, his face puffy and pale with dark circles under his eyes. His hair was a mop of unwashed brown, sticking out at odd angles around his head. Despite his young age, there was already a smattering of acne across his nose and cheeks. The boy looked downcast, staring at his scuffed fingernails. Bruises colored different shades of purple and yellow, decorated his arms, and the left side of his face was still swollen, making him look like he'd just had a fight. The only sound he made was a soft sigh as he slumped further into his chair. But then a cruel laugh echoed through the room, and the boy flinched, squeezing his eyes shut. Another laugh, and then another, until the room was filled with mocking snickers. "Hey, Chubby, why don't you just go home and die?" a voice called out. "You scared of us, Chubby? Why don't you come out and play, huh?" The boy didn't respond. He stayed hunched over his desk, his shoulders shaking slightly. "Hey, if you can hear me, answer me," the voice continued, its tone growing bored. "Don't you want to tell us how you feel, Chubby?" Silence met their demands, and after a few more moments of taunting, the boys left, their footsteps fading down the hallway. The moment they were gone, the boy at the desk exhaled sharply. His eyes remained squeezed shut, but a single tear managed to slip out, tracing a lonely path down his cheek. After a while, the rain outside seemed to let up, and the only thing that accompanied the soft pitter-patter of water was the distant hum of traffic. The boy sat alone in the darkening classroom, his body a small silhouette in the gloom. He leaned back in his chair, the squeak of metal legs on tile floor echoing strangely in the silence. His gaze was fixed on the ceiling, his mind lost in thought. Then suddenly the room was flooded with golden light. The boy gasped, shielding his eyes with one arm. As he slowly adjusted to the brightness, he noticed something strange. The room wasn't a classroom anymore. It was a luxurious bedroom with white walls and a massive bed made of what looked like pure gold. Startled by this sudden change, he scrambled back, knocking over a glass table beside him. The shards hit the floor, and the boy froze, fear constricting his throat. "What the hell?" he whispered, his voice trembling. Before he could react, a figure emerged from behind the bed. Tall, muscular, and handsome, the man had glowing golden skin, sharp features, and a defined jawline. His eyes were a striking black, almost hypnotic in their intensity. Most striking, though, was the long, thick black hair that fell over his shoulders. It seemed to have a life of its own, rippling like water whenever he moved. "Who are you?" the boy stammered, scrambling further away. The stranger tilted his head, studying him with those intense black eyes. "I am you," he replied, his voice deep and resonant. Confused, the boy shook his head. "What? I don't understand." The stranger stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "This is your second body, and right now you are in great danger." As if to emphasize his point, the ground beneath them rumbled, shaking the very foundations of the room. The boy's eyes widened in fear. "Danger? What do you mean?" Before the stranger could reply, the room began to shake violently, throwing the boy off balance. Furniture toppled over, pictures fell off the walls, and the windows shattered, letting in a rush of wind and rain. "We don't have much time," the stranger said, grabbing the boy's hand. Without giving him a chance to respond, he pulled the boy towards the bed. "Get in. It will protect you." Confused but desperate to escape the shaking room, the boy did as he was told. The moment he touched the bed, though, a searing pain shot through his body, making him cry out and fall to his knees. "Hurry," the stranger urged, helping him up. "It's almost too late." Still in pain, the boy managed to scramble onto the bed. As soon as he did, the room exploded into a blinding white light. When the boy opened his eyes again, he found himself lying face down on a soft surface. Disoriented, he pushed himself up, expecting to see the stranger, but instead found himself staring into a dark mirror. Startled, he stumbled back, knocking over a glass table, shattered on the floor, startling him even more. Then, as he looked down, his eyes widened in disbelief. He wasn't chubby anymore. Struggling to comprehend what he was seeing, he got to his feet and approached the mirror cautiously. When he finally mustered the courage to look at his reflection, his breath hitched. Staring back at him was a tall, muscular man with glowing golden skin. The stranger's face stared back at him, a perfect mirror image. Except it wasn't just any man. It was the stranger from before, the one who claimed to be him. But that was impossible. This body, this face, none of it belonged to him. Confused and scared, the boy reached out to touch his reflection. But his fingers passed straight through, as if he were a ghost. Panic surged through him. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Trapped in a nightmare, he stumbled back, desperate to escape the room. As he ran, his mind reeled, trying to make sense of what was happening. Who was this stranger? Why did he have two bodies? And why was he in danger? With each step, his fear grew, echoing the pounding of his heart in his chest. Suddenly, he noticed something. His reflection was gone. The mirror that had shown him the stranger now showed nothing but his own terrified face. He wasn't chubby anymore, but he didn't look like the stranger either. Confused and scared, he rushed to the mirror, desperately trying to find the stranger to find himself. But all he saw was his own terrified reflection staring back. And then the boy remembered he had been in the classroom. He'd been bullied. But how did he get here? What happened to the stranger? And why did he have glowing golden skin? Who was he? Who was this guy? He ran to the window and smashed the glass, cutting his hands badly. He didn't care. He climbed out, ignoring the rain soaking him to the bone. As he looked back at the room, he saw the stranger standing at the window. Their eyes met, and the stranger smiled sadly. Then he vanished, now soaked, freezing cold, and bleeding from his hands. The boy ran through the rain-slicked streets, not knowing where he was going. Only that he needed to get away from that house, away from the pain, away from the memories that flooded his mind. With each step, the weight of the past pressed down on him, threatening to drag him under. The rain felt like tears on his skin, washing away the old chubby boy, revealing the man he was meant to be. As he ran, he realized he didn't know who he was, what he was doing, or why he was so scared. All he knew was that he couldn't stop running. He owed it to himself, to the stranger, to find out who he was, what his purpose was. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs screamed for mercy. But still he didn't stop. He couldn't stop. He had to keep moving forward, had to become stronger. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the boy collapsed on a nearby hill, his body aching, his mind numb. But as he looked up at the sky, a single thought echoed in his mind. He would find the stranger. He would reclaim his body, his life, his strength. He would become the powerful man he was meant to be, because deep down he knew that was only the beginning. End of episode 1.